Hey guys, it's Tiffany, and I'm here to offer you the May 2024 Astrology Forecast. And I acknowledge I'm about a week late into it. So thank you for your grace and patience. There's been a lot of talk, I guess, in some of the astrology circles lately about this just, constant overwhelm, constant classes available, constant lectures available, free, paid certifications, resources, workshops, memberships. And then there's this constant data flow of people doing reels and posts, and it's a lot. It's a lot of information. And so I've been kind of stepping back to assess how I want to participate and how I want to contribute with the massive amount of information that's available through the astrology community. So, this first part of May has been a little bit more contemplative for me. I'm curious if you've been the same way. We've been looking up at the night skies for centuries, eons, ever since the first human, right? Like we've been looking up and pondering life, and this is our ability to connect this life with the afterlife, or this physical world with the metaphysical world. We can look up and be influenced and excited and inspired. We can use astrology against us, right? We can use it to predict and forecast and get scared. And that is really not what I want to do. I hope that this forecast helps you just consider the planetary teachers, the information that's available, just like the weather forecast. If I could do a farmer's almanac for the planets, that would be like my dream job, right? So this is simply a weather forecast that illuminates the psychology rather than the rain or the snow or the desert or the winds, right? This is more of a psychology forecast. So that said, if you're new to my work, welcome. I'm Tiffany Harlick. I'm a professional astrologer and beekeeper in Texas, and I just want to welcome you to the month of May. In numerology, May 2024 is a 4 month in an 8 year. And so for me, I find that 4 months are usually about stabilizing things. You think about four on the floor, four legs of the chair. You think about the four directions, feeling pulled in the four corners, right? You feel this sense of decluttering and organizing and providing structure and really creating a new solid foundation. So, because we're in the astrology world, this is going to be a spiritual foundation. So, anything that hasn't been set up properly is likely to be shown to you, right? That there's a different way to set up the structure, to reorient the structure of your spiritual life, of your mind, body, spirit, of your work life, of your relationships, of all of it. And the eight, the eight is this infinity symbol. And in beekeeping, the bees will go out and make their orientation flights in a figure eight. So we see the figure eight and infinity as this symbol, right, of life going on, of what goes up must come down. And so I know that this whole year is an 8 year. There's risk and reward associated with the eight. We just had the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, and that also shows a bit of risk and reward. And so I know that some of you are going through great changes to restabilize your life that also have been really risky for you. And so when you're going through those changes, those rites of passages, those transitions, right? Those moments of shock and pivot, right? That we can really get crazy, like we can really ruminate, get obsessive thinking. And so my tools for you are going to be to biochemically regulate yourself, right? A lot of you guys know that I have created an intuition protocol that will help you biochemically regulate along with my friend Jess Yonda. I'll link that for you. So that is going to help keep you at an emotionally neutral state, no matter what the changes or reorganization of your life is doing. Another one is your faith. Jupiter's in Taurus right now. Jupiter represents big faith, right? This willingness to have not blind faith, but faith with action, right? Faith with action. And so that's what the 4-8 looks like to me. If I could sum it up, I think that would be it, faith in action. So um, the first week of May is behind us now. I enjoyed celebrating it with some of my herbal sisters in San Marcos and the Dripping Springs community. It was a beautiful, like, slow start. That's very Taurian of us too, isn't it? We had a last quarter moon on May 1st, which was Beltane, and the Sabian symbol was people on a vast staircase graduated upwards. And so this idea of like a stairway to heaven, right? May 3rd is when Pluto went retrograde in Aquarius. This is very normal. Pluto retrograde happens every year for several months. A lot of people will say it's a more reflective internal time. But what is your natural state anyways? Shouldn't we always have some level of introspection and inventory going on? Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, right? This is like a reconsidering, a redeveloping of all of the Aquarian themes. So the Aquarian themes are innovation, technology, groups of people, large networks, robotics, AI, things like this. So Pluto is going to go direct, but it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn, but it won't go direct until October. And that's during the United States election. And so I feel like a lot of astrologers are predicting the intensity around the election. I think that this will, I guess, work with that intensity, right? The motion from looking apparent retrograde to the going forward again here in October. Pluto's the wrecking ball. Pluto is the destroyer. Pluto digs deep and has this rebirth feeling. So I know a lot of people early May are going through that rebirth feeling, that dark night of the soul, that feeling like you're jumping off the diving board and don't know how deep the water is, right? That's Pluto. So as we look at this week, today, May 7th, we've got a new moon in Taurus. So that means the sun and the moon are in Taurus. Later this month, Mercury will join in Taurus. We'll join Uranus, Jupiter. We're going to have 4 or 5 planets in Taurus. Let's see how many we can collect. But the new moon, May 7th, will also sextile Saturn. So that's kind of good. So doors open. This could be a great day to get some work stuff done. Personally, I'm really excited because I'm going to be recording a class on planet medicine with Suzanne Gerber for her summit that will be released this summer. And so it's a huge honor for me. So this new moon sextile Saturn, so doors opening, new relationships, new things that will help you with your career, with your path forward, with things that stabilize the 4-month, the new moon in Taurus, grounding, right? The new moon intention is I feel safe, secure, and trust my body to take me to and through correct experiences. So, grounding mats. I don't think I can reach my, oh, I can. I usually use one of these little grounding mats at my feet when I'm sitting here working. That's an easy way to incorporate earth energy. Putting some of your favorite crystals right on your desk. It's another fun way to just have more of that Mother Earth influence in your immediate surroundings. The new moon is in 18 degrees of Taurus. So whatever house that is in for you, that will give you an extra flavor, an extra theme to consider what is starting now that's unfolding over a 2.5-year period. So this new moon family in Taurus, moon family cycle in Taurus starts May 7th on the new moon. And the next little pivot point is 9 months later on February 5th, 2025. So that will be the first quarter moon in 16 Taurus. So you'll be kind of ready to take action based on what's starting and brewing in your life right now. And then November 5th of 2025, there will be a full moon in Taurus. So you'll observe what's kind of being shown to you again at another pivot point. And then by August 6th of 2026, this new moon that starts today, May 7th, will complete, will culminate. There will be some sense of closure, some sense of something coming full circle. The last quarter moon is also a time to pay debts or send out your invoices to get paid on the debts that are still outstanding. The Sabian symbol for this new moon is a new continent is rising out of the ocean. Interesting, right? Lots of metaphors and symbolisms when you think about the Sabian symbols. So as we go into the next week, May 13th through 19th, there's an energy ramp up. Mercury is going to move into Taurus on the 15th. Right before that, Uranus will be in Cazimi or will Cazimi in Taurus. So Uranus is in the heart of the sun. Jupiter will join that later in the month, but there's this extra energy of change, this unpredictability of Uranus right there with the sun where things are fiery, right? So it's very electric energy that May 13th through 19th. Mercury exits its post-shadow period as well. So Venus is going to sextile Saturn all May 13th through 19th. The first quarter moon is at 25 Leo, May 15th, when Mercury moves into Taurus. And so Mercury will be in Taurus through June 3rd. So we have a little while to work with both the sun and Mercury in Taurus while it's there. And this could be stubborn energy on one hand, this could be bullheaded energy on one hand, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that stubbornness to get through some things. Taurus rules your finances. And so for me, for example, personal example, some of my financial institutions have changed, right? Like they've sold off portions of different accounts, and it's like now it's all spread out, and staying stubborn with it to kind of reconsolidate and stay on the phone and be willing to spend the couple of hours it's going to take to be transferred to all of the departments to consolidate and get it back to where I wanted it to be, right? That's an idea of how stubbornness with Mercury and Taurus can work in your favor. Otherwise, right, Taurus helps us slow things down and enjoy, like, be pleasurable with things, like enjoy the sensuality of food, of conversation, of life, right, of sharing life together. So the first quarter moon, as Mercury moves into Taurus, shows us what pressures are actually working in our favor and where we need to take action. Again, it's in 25 Leo, so wherever that is in your chart, it's showing you a turning point. It's showing you something that you're ready to ignite and do. So look at the house where 25 Leo is in your chart, and then also look back 9 months ago for themes and clues as to what is evolving for you. The Sabian symbol with this first quarter moon is after a heavy storm, a rainbow appears, right? So I have all the dates for you. If you're interested in the nitty gritty, you can check it out on my blog at tiffanyharlick.com, or you can check out my astrology digital calendar. It's awesome. It shows you all, if you click on the description, it shows you all of my ideas of interpreting how this astrology is laying out for you. And it also shows you the specific dates and degrees and the left mind things and the right mind things. So I hope you guys enjoy the calendar. And I'm adding an extra calendar next year. So I'm really excited about that. So, okay, May 17th, Mercury is going to square Pluto. So even though we've got this heavy storm and the rainbow appears, you just want to be aware of things that might be misrepresented to you. There might be some more misunderstandings. Mercury and Pluto squaring off, right? Thinking about Mercury rules our mind, the way we talk, the way we communicate, the way we think through things, the way we learn. And Pluto retrograde, right, in Aquarius, really helping us reconsider some things, reorganize the way that we used to think about things, which, I shared that I'm feeling now, this early May period where I'm like, how do I want to share astrology content going forward in a way that aligns with my faith, with my beliefs, right? So Pluto, right? You might want to pause and meditate when agitated. Positate, that's a new one. Mars, you know, Mercury is going to have that rumination quality to it. So anytime the mind gets stuck on something, can you just sort it and be like, oh, that's a future potential thought. I don't need it right now. Thank you. Oh, that's a past nagging thought. I don't need it for this present moment right now. Thank you. Can you turn on some music, light a candle, change the vibe somehow so that you don't get stuck in rumination? On the 18th, Venus is going to conjunct Uranus in Taurus, and Jupiter will be Cazimi in Taurus. And that is one of my buddy's birthdays. And so I want to wish her a very happy birthday. And also just, it feels like there's a lot of luck, abundance, prosperity, pleasure available with that combo. So Venus and Uranus and Jupiter all in Taurus, it's very exciting. There's a lot of attraction. It could be a fun time to do like a lover's reading or a lover's retreat, or just take off and do something wild that you don't normally do. Uranus is the great inventor, right? So I want you to stay fascinated. Venus, right, brings that pleasure quality in, as does Taurus. Taurus brings themes around food and finance, stability, the bulls, the cows, right? And really, Jupiter there magnifies everything. So Jupiter, I remember, like, I love Jupiter because I feel like, oh, it's the God planet, it's the faith planet, it makes everything bigger, it illuminates, it's the planet that helps you see beyond horizons. But I remember several years ago, one of my friends said, Tiffany, it's not all good with Jupiter, right? Jupiter magnifies everything, the good and the bad. It's a neutral magnifying glass. So you have to pardon my bright eyes when I'm excited about Jupiter, because sometimes it does magnify things that we don't want. And sometimes we make mountains out of molehills, right? We complicate cornflakes. We make things difficult. We make things bigger than they are. And so be aware of that opposite and opposing energy that could be showing you something that is really up for you to disintegrate, rebuild, set the structure straight, just like we talked about in the beginning. So May 19th, the sun is going to sextile Neptune. Mars is going to conjunct the North Node, conjoin the North Node. This is a time when you can start to use your imagination more freely, where you can be more creative, where you can help others, where the sense of destiny and fate and something pulling you forward. This is really where you start to feel a new calling and you start to spiritualize things in your life in a different way. So I love this energy. So May 18th, 19th is going to be a very interesting time. I'm looking at it positively, but there's always free will at play. So how you experience it, how you perceive things is everything. Your lens is everything. May 20th through 26th, I believe this is the 4th week, and it takes us out of Taurus season and into the multiplicity of Gemini energy. Gemini, it offers this multifaceted crystal, right? Here's one on my desk. I haven't hung up yet. This is from my friend Elise, but you can see there's many different facets to the crystal. It's one crystal, but if you look at it here, you might describe it one way, or here you might describe it one way, or here you might describe it one way. The sun is going to enter Gemini on May 20th and will stay there through June 21st. So make sure you get your Geminis some happy birthday gifts. If you want them to have a session with me, I would be honored to work with them. I do mind, body, spirit astrology sessions, and I would love to help them. So happy birthday to our Gemini babes. And then on May 22nd, the sun is going to trine Pluto. And so I feel like this is, it just reminds me of that Indigo Girls song, Become You, or the album Become You, the whole album really. Pluto helps us unearth and change things, and the sun is about ourself, our identity. So you might see some people doing some rebranding, up-leveling. You might see some people going through that Phoenix state of rising up, get knocked down 7 times, stand up 8. To me, it's positive change. It's encouraging, but it's not easy. It's not simple. It's probably messy, but there's some beauty in the growth of it all, right? Pluto rules our elimination organs, our sex organs. It rules closure and completion. And so you also might notice just that a portion of yourself you're outgrowing a portion of yourself too here in May. So let's see, Venus and Jupiter sextile Neptune on the 23rd, and then Venus moves into Gemini. So the sun and Venus moving into Gemini here. Venus will be in Gemini May 23rd through June 17th. Sometimes we feel caught in the middle with this placement, right? Like Gemini can pull us in 2 directions or help us see things from different perspectives. And Venus it's like that issue of the heart where you feel like you can't be 2 places at once, or you feel like sometimes you have the perspective that you have to choose something, right? And then there's all the dynamics that go along with that. So getting out of that 2 of Wands energy, that feeling pulled into places energy, or acknowledging when that's happening and trying to stay neutral and follow your heart with what's best for you, right? Making decisions based on your own design, making decisions based on your truest desire, as opposed to what you think you should do or what you ought to do or guilt or any of those things. This can be like this push-pull dynamic with Venus things, which is love and money. So our relationships and our finances might have that stressor going on. When we are unclear or undecided, right, Venus in Gemini, it could be this time to talk things out. I don't really recommend talk therapy, but with Gemini, it's like this flirty energy that needs to bounce ideas around, and that might be useful to you. So is there a trusted friend that is a closed mouth friend that you could talk things out with this month? There on the 25th and 26th, Venus will trine Pluto, and then Jupiter will enter Gemini. So a big shift, right? A big shift at the end of May when the sun, Venus, and Jupiter all move from Taurus into Gemini. Jupiter in Gemini is a huge information exchange, and Jupiter makes things much bigger. Gemini is the nitty-gritty of information, and When Celeste and Sarah and I did our 2024 forecast, we felt like this was going to be a time when discernment was going to be needed. In fact, that was Celeste's word of the year because of this huge amount of information overload. And I'm feeling it now, right? The Jupiter transits, you'll feel at least a month in advance, and it's like a crescendo, right? So I'm feeling it now, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it in the posts. People that are sharing about this level of overwhelm of information, right? So discerning what you put in the program of your mind, right, is going to be always important, but especially important as Jupiter goes into Gemini. Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini. It doesn't necessarily like to be there. If it's that case in your natal chart, don't worry, right? You were born this way. You were born with the ability to absorb and convey and communicate and exchange massive amounts of information. Use it as a blessing, right? Use it to your advantage. So the rest of us will use it as discernment. Now, if Gemini is in your 10th house, for example, you're going to be starting a new 12-year cycle with your career as Jupiter enters your 10th house. If it is in your 7th house of relationships, you're starting a new 12-year cycle with your significant other or your idea of a significant other, right? If it's entering your 4th house, it could be that you're having a territory expansion, that your home is growing or that your family is growing, right? So there's lots of different ways to interpret Jupiter and Gemini, but especially through the houses and the aspects to your natal planets. So what is expanding in your life? What do you want to learn, right? What ideas do you want to share? May 28th through 31st, there at the end of the month, we've got Mercury sextile Saturn. To me, this is like you need some more time to concentrate, think through things, filter through things, go through the mail, sort, organize. Saturn represents wise elders and mentors, and Mercury, again, the way that we communicate, think, and learn. Mercury also rules transportation, the nervous system, many other things, right? So it could be that you're connecting with a wise mentor about your nervous system. It could be that you are mentoring somebody else about some skill that requires their hands or their shoulders or their lungs, all Mercury things. Then we've got Mars conjunct Chiron in Aries on the 29th. So to me, and Aries is that spiritual warrior. It's the pioneering energy. It's the me first energy. It's the quick to the table. It's the athlete. It's the sporty energy, right? And so we've got Mars and Chiron there. And so it could be that there's some wounds coming to the surface. It could be, always being careful with your words to not hurt each other, to stand up for yourself, but not against other people. Mars inspires and illuminates and represents the divine masculine. Chiron heals, right? And is a salve and represents the inner child, also represents soulmates. Aries is where we forge new paths forward. So, a really interesting blend of alchemy, healing type energy in the psychology forecast, right? This is a time when the underdog wins, and the conjunction occurs in 22 degrees of Aries. So I just wanted to throw out there that that Sabian symbol is the gate to the Garden of Desire, and it signals uncompromising faith in exploring personal meaning for countless frontiers ahead. So the moon is void of course that day, so you don't want to overplan that day. You want to leave room for healing naps, for like the ideas to occur when you're sleeping or in the shower or things like this. There could be some restlessness, like you want to do something, but the energy's not there. And so just be aware of that. The last day of the month, Mercury will conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So Mercury, Uranus together, electrifying Taurus, right? That earth sign. So there could be bright ideas, moments of brilliance, ahas, understanding, something that's very unpredictable. It could be that wires get crossed, literal wires, electrical wires. It could be that Mercury stimulates communication, Uranus stimulates out of the box thinking. There could be some forward thinking solutions, a meeting of the minds. This could be a great day to just bat around ideas. And then Taurus really stabilizes the energy. We might also see things like lightning in the earth, right? There's lots of ways to interpret the astrology forecast. So my intention has been to do that for you in a way that is useful, practical, meaningful, helpful, and I hope that you've enjoyed the May forecast. So you can find me at tiffanyharlick.com. It's my honor to work with you and for you. I write the forecast, I write a blog, I do one-on-one sessions. My favorite thing is teaching people. So if you're interested in spiritual development, understanding your spiritual gifts, or if you're interested in learning astrology from an evolutionary Western perspective, I'd love to help you. And also, I'll see you in the fields, right, with the bees. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being here. Namaste.